Well, it's warm today, but there's no sun. I like sun. I got two of them. That's why. That's the Vietnam Memorial behind me. And over here, maybe you see over somewhere behind me. The Abe Lincoln's over there, sitting around. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about getting money. I just did the last video I did was on all the local places that have money for business, grants and easy loans and all that kind of, and really it's government. So it's not, I'm not going to show you something that Citibank gives to business, some kind of deal, because they're making money off it somewhere. And I want to show you where to get things free or without people trying to make money from themselves. I mean, they're welcome to do it, but they get enough advertising, and I don't want to advertise people, that don't need it. And it's the people are out there doing good work, nonprofits and businesses that have the same thing that the for-profit people have, but nobody advertises. They can't advertise, so they don't know. So that's why every website that you see from me will never charge you money. That's it. Some may have loans, but they'll be, loans that will be better than you can get anywhere else, and nicer because they don't have investors. They're not playing with investors' money. They have to account for. They're paying. They're really lending money to help the community, and help individuals in the community. So that's what it is. But what I want to cover more is that I've always wanted to start a business, and I came to Washington my father was a small businessman. His father was an immigrant who came here to work in the coal mines in Pennsylvania. And I guess he was a smarter guy, didn't want to work in the coal mines, but that was a dying business. He started a garment factory with another guy and his partners. That kind of thing is always in my mind. It's always that, how could I have a business or something that supported me? And that seemed like a great way. I would have sold hot dogs on the mall. I didn't care. So I went in the Navy 3 years, 2 months, 9 days. Came back, got an MBA. I couldn't get into school before that. On the GI Bill, and then started businesses. And my first two failed. And they failed dramatically. I mean, and it's because I had an MBA. I went to MBA school. They teach you how to do all these kind of things, run a business, and everything I did, trying to follow everything that I was taught, I failed. I just big time failed. So I go work for somebody for 6 months and get pissed off. I'm a terrible employee. I hate being told what to do. That's why I have to work for myself. And I'd start another business, and that failed. And then when they finally worked, was when I started them with no money. I started them with no consultants. I started them with, I didn't even figure out if I should have a license, anything. I just said, okay, how? I think I had in my mind, like, immigrants come here, and or you go to an underdeveloped country, you got somebody on the street corner, selling you something, and you give them money. I mean, actually here, it's the same thing. The kids that come down here to the mall, and they sell water. And they say it's very profitable. They go to Costco, get a whole bunch of water for 10, 15 cents a bottle or something. They sell it for $2 a bottle on a hot summer day out of a wagon. It costs them nothing, And that's how I see business, is not figuring out, what is the strategic advantage and all that crap. You can do that when you're big. When you're small, you don't have to know about strategic advantage. You just need a couple customers and you're in business. Anything else is, to me, a waste of time. You don't need a legal framework. You don't need anything. I mean, there's certainly some businesses you do. You want to, compete with AT&T and start a phone company. Well, that's a little different. You want to feed yourself and do something in society and contribute to society and get paid to do it. Well, you don't need money to do that. I mean, that's bias, and other people will probably tell you something else, and you may want to believe either one. It doesn't matter. You got to figure out your best way to you do it. But to me, or the best way for you to do it. But to me, the biggest problem is that people put off doing what your business will do because they're doing all this other stuff somebody told them they should do before you start business. And I think that is absolutely wrong. Because you're just postponing, and then you need all the stuff they say you have to have for business. Then you feel, oh, I better go out and raise money to do that. And so I'll get a grant, or I'll get loans, or investors, and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to waste, I don't know how long, months, years, or whatever, to do that before you start your business. So just start your business first in the smallest way that costs no money. I mean, what I'm doing now, and this is probably about my fifth business or so, I spent zero money starting this thing. And it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I mean, the businesses, some have been good, and as you see, three were successful, and the first two, just went down the toilet, because I listen to everybody else. Because the biggest thing is, I think indication of success is your passion and your belief that you could do this. And if you're, taking advice from all these other people, not that advice is bad, but it just may not work for you. But also your time. If you're starting a business, time is the most important product you have. That's your scarce resource. You have to figure out, what are you going to do with your time? Because if it's only you starting a one person, whatever it is, you don't have time to pick out the right business cards. You don't have time to pick up, meet with attorneys to become an LLC, whatever the hell you want to do. And your customer doesn't care. And that's the only thing. Your success depends on you and a customer. And the faster you could go out and try to find a customer, the faster you're going to be successful in your business. If you're spending all the time about other stuff, you're not in business to get a grant. You think you need a grant to start a business, and you may or may not. But you may be, be clever enough not to figure out a way not to get money to start a business. Just use your energy to find a customer. And that's what's so neat about the internet and social media and all that. That you just, look, I used to spend millions of dollars on TV advertising to get customers, okay? I'm doing this free now. YouTube lets me do it free. And that's what I did. And actually, I did that before the internet. The way my last big business happened was, I thought I needed to spend money on advertising, so I'd scrape together a couple $100 and put an ad in the Wall Street Journal or whatever. And it never worked. I didn't know anything well enough to understand what's really going to be, important, what makes people buy on an ad. So then I figured, well, how can I reach people for free and not spend money on ads? And so I said, hey, I looked at the Wall Street Journal and see, they got, lots of ads all over the Wall Street Journal, but they have stories that don't cost anything. So people are writing, they got to fill up the information between the ads. So what occurred to me, hey, how do I get somebody to write up about what I do? So I just came up with little crazy little ideas of, 10 things the government to do for your business or whatever. And I'd write a letter or a press release, just make it up and send it to people. Then they started writing it up. People would write it up, and then my phone just never, kept ringing off the hook after that by getting free advertising, not buying advertising. You do that when you have a lot of money. because then you can learn how to do it. And it takes time. If you have little money, you're not going to learn fast enough before you're out of business how advertising works. But you can get free advertising. And that's through publicity, doing something, giving something to people. Hey, they could, sign up to this website and get something free. Like right now, you could sign up to www.free.lesco.com/Lesco webinar. That's a free site. You could, watch all the videos that tell you how to get government money for anything in your life. And there's like 37 free videos there. But you sign in with an email address. So I've got an email address. So that's marketing. So I can send emails out for free. I don't have to go to postal office like we did 20 years ago when I marketed. Man, it was expensive. It's $1 an envelope. Now it's free. So that's why now there's so many free ways, but you have to be clever. But you're not going to be if you go to Google, because Google will tell you about all these places that you could spend money to market. And you think you need marketing? Yes, you do, but you don't have money. So you can't do paid marketing. You have to do free marketing. And that's it. Another way to do free marketing is to find websites that have, this is what I did a lot. Like even on my television commercials were all like that. I didn't pay for TV time, until I found out how to do it, and then it worked well. In the beginning, the way I did it was to get people to run my commercial, and I would give them a piece of the money. So on the internet, I still do that. You want to sell my stuff, you sell it, and you get like almost half the money, 40% of the money. So it's because it occurred to me, that's when I was selling books, people would go to a bookstore. I'd go on TV shows, on talk shows, and talk about my book. People would go to the bookstore, and they'd buy my book, and I'd only get half the money. And so I said, heck, I'll give anybody half the money to sell my stuff. So whether it was on the internet or anywhere else, anybody that has a following, you say, hey, talk about my book and I'll give you half the money. Talk about my service, I'll give you a percentage. And it costs you nothing, and you know for sure if it works. That's why if you go to advertising people, they'll promise you that, I know, just put an ad here, you're going to make $1 million. Well, what I say, fine, I'll give you half of it. Let's try it. Instead of spending the $1 million on advertising, I just tell them, I'll give you half the money. And, that's the way, because you don't know until you do it a long time how to make advertising work. Everybody thinks, I just have to do this, just have to do that. No, that's not true. But you have to learn, and that's why you learn without spending money. And that's why with advertising or anything else, you just do it that way. Now, you have a business and you want to sell something on Etsy, it costs you 20 cents or $20 or whatever the heck it is. So you have a store. That's it. Now you go out and find people who will talk about your great stuff and give them half the money they get. It's easy. It's all there. Everybody now with the technology and these platforms like Etsy, they're all set up to do that. Your Spotify store, I have one. It's all set up easy. Somebody could take your website, find customers for you, and you give them half the money. So that's why you have to spend your time on finding a customer and understanding what the customer wants. You don't have to spend, and you're wasting your time, I think, if you don't do that first, instead of going out and spending all this time trying to build some business that you think needs all this money. It does, the way you think it, but if you think it differently, it may not. And sure, it may not work for everyone in every situation, but now that we're selling information or services, absolutely. You're just not, if you haven't done it, you just get tied in what accepted practices are. And then when people tell you how to start a business or whatever, they have something to sell. And everybody I mean, the way they tell you to start a business is if you have a lot of money. But the biggest companies in the United States right now all start with people with no money. I was reading about, Sears Robot. I mean, that was an immigrant in a push car, selling suits out of a push cart. He didn't even make the suits. He didn't even want to have a suit. And he got the measurements, sent it somewhere else, and did. That turned into Sears Robot. You have to get out there, and not unless you have something that is a big infrastructure kind of thing. You need lots of cash for. I mean, but if you're just a hustler trying to feed yourself and do something that's exciting for you, well, the only thing you need is a customer. I know it's hard to get out of other people's minds because I'm an old fart, been thinking this way. And the only way that got me to think this way is after I failed the first 2 times. And it just cost me money, aggravation, whatever. So that's why the 3rd time I tried, I said, who won when my business failed? And I spent all this money on the office space, on the fancy business cards, the furniture, the consultants, the legal. I was the big loser. They were all the big winners who I bought the stuff from. And it had nothing to do with my success. The only thing that's cutting a tree down over here. The only thing that matters about your success is your customers. You have to think about your success. The color of your business card critical? No, people aren't going to. Are you having an LLC is critical? No, people want your stuff. They don't give a shit who you are. You're worried. I mean, you talk to lawyers and they say, they could sue you and take your 3rd child. Well, the chances of that happening are probably the snowballs in hell. And you don't have much time for shit anyway. And the only thing that's important is you finding someone that you could do something for, and that's called a customer. And you just keep doing that until you refine your idea where it makes sense to some people that you can build a business with. You can't build a business just what's in your head, because it may not be in anybody else's head but yours. So take the idea and figure out a way to sell it. You could sell it, and that's why I like Kickstarter. You could do a Kickstarter and not even have a product or whatever. Do a Kickstarter or any kind of Kickstarter, any of those things, and put the product you're going to provide. I'm going to make this kind of sweater in December. You want one? I'm going to sell them for $100, but for you it'll be $20. So you go out, and if I get 100 people to do it, then I'm in business. If I don't, I give you your money back. So now you have a way to see if your idea is viable or not. You don't even know how to make a sweater yet. That's why I think there's things like this in our society now that makes it so easy to be an entrepreneur if you want. If you don't want, fine. There's other ways to make money. And another thing to do is these platforms that sell services. Like TaskRabbit, Thumbtack, and all these things, that sell your services, but they bring the customers. That's what's nice about it. They get you customers. And that's the thing. You got the best idea, you have no customer, who cares? And the trick in life is finding how to get customers. And, that's an art. That's why you just can't take somebody else's idea. This is how you get customers. Yeah, it was for you there, but that's a process, a step-by-step process you have to go through to do that. But there's other ways to be financially independent by using the gig economy. And, you go on these platforms that sell other people's services, and you say, hey, I do this. I could do easy accounting for you, and I charge $30 an hour. So now you're in business. That's all you needed to do. You don't need to do anything else. You're on one of these platforms. They help find the customer. Now you're going to have to hustle too, but now you have also a way to get money from what you're selling, and you're on somebody's platform, so it gives you legitimacy instead of Harry's website or something. You're on something that people are not afraid to buy from. So that's a great thing to have. So that's what I think now is probably one of the best times for you to start a business with no money. Well, don't forget, letsgohelp.com. We have apply for the grant for the grant deadline for the St. Patty's Day grant, which we're giving out $30,000. The application deadline is the 4th of March, not the I's of March, the 4th of March. And all you have to do is write a few sentences on what you do with $1,000. And we pick 50 winners from the applications, either $1,000 or $500. And you could apply on letsgohelp.com or letsgohelp2.co. Letsgohelp2, the number 2.co. Okay? And if you just want to find sources of help for your business, and that's what you need. You could get free consulting. That's probably better than trying to figure out what the grants are, because there's lots of that. And you could find all the sources of government help for business, even debt, or your housing, education, healthcare, legal, all this stuff at letsgoreports.com. letsgoreports.com. And if you remember Let's Go Help, you get all those reports for free. And we got hundreds more. We keep doing it all the time. So, thanks. I'm by the White House now. That's the executive office building behind me. It's warm here in Washington. It's supposed to be like in the 60s. It probably is, but no sun. Sun makes it all so much better. Yeah. And that's what's nice. So I'll talk to you soon. Stay well. And I got kind of an idea in my mind about being a government grant gopher. Talk to you later.